What's up, guys? Grindy Gamer back at it with another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today we're going to talk about why your champions are not hitting as hard, or why they feel like they're hitting like a bag of pillows, and why you're dying in the arenas by the exact same champions that you have, or why you can't beat dragons because dragons literally is a damage race on who could deal the most damage. So there's going to be three criteria we're going to talk about. First thing is first, if you are like me, I started this game out thinking that if I stack as much attack as much possible, that means I could deal the most attack, because it makes sense, right? You click a skill, you attack an enemy, and you use attack to attack, right? So it makes sense to just stack attack. And what I thought was, if I could stack as much attack as much as possible, I could beat this whole game with one champion. But apparently it doesn't work like that. So what I mean by that is, if you go to a champion, go to their skill, click a skill, there's going to be this thing called damage based on ... And what that means is, that's where the damage is coming from. So for this instance, Tyrell, damage based on defense. So what that means is, your damage is going to come from your defense stats. Another example is Elhain. She's one of the starter champions. If you click one of her skill, it's going to say damage based on attack, which means her damage is going to come from the attack stat. Now there's going to be a special champion such as Coldheart on her A3. Damage is based on enemy max HP. So what that means is, if your enemy has a massive amount of HP like the spider, the harder she will hit. Now another special character is going to be Doomscreech. His A3 is damage based on HP. So what that means is, the higher HP on this champion is, the stronger you will hit. Now, if you didn't know that in this game, damage-based defense and damage-based HPs are actually one of the strongest champions in this game. Let me tell you why. Because let's say for Tyrell, he is a defense-based champion. Now, as you already know, defense helps you prevent from taking a lot of damage. It helps suppresses the damage. So if you stack a lot of defense, you're going to take a lot less damage, and then when it's your turn to hit, you're going to hit a lot stronger, because you're just going to stack it on defense. You're going to stay alive and you're going to hit strong. So defense-based champions and HP-based champions are the strongest characters in this game. So that's the first thing, is know where your damage is coming from. So how you do that is, you go to skill, click a skill, and it's going to say damage based ... Alright, so next one is going to be crit rate and crit damage. Now I'm going to explain crit damage first because it's a lot simpler, and then I'll go with crit rate because it makes more sense. Let me tell you why. Crit damage, think about crit damage as a multiplier. Multiplier to where your damage is coming from. So, if you have high crit damage, the higher your multiplier are for wherever your damage is coming from. So, meaning for Tyrell, if his damage base is defense, his multiplier is going to come off from the defense. So the higher your crit damage is, the higher your multiplier is for defense. That is probably the simplest way that I can explain it, and I hope someone else told me that earlier. So comment below if you guys didn't know that, and comment below if you guys did. So the next one is crit rate. Now crit rate, what it means is the chance that you will hit that multiplier. So the closer you are to 100%, the better. Now there is this thing called, if you are attacking an opposite affinity, that your crit rate actually decreases by like 15%. Now I don't know if that's the exact, but that's what I've been hearing. So a lot of people has been building their characters for 115 crit rate, so that way if they go against the opposite affinity, that minus 15 is going to drop off to still 100%, so they'll still crit no matter what. So that's how you'll build it. So first thing is first, know where your damage is coming from. If you didn't know that, go to skill, click a skill, it'll say damage based on ... Second, build as much crit damage as you can. Third is get as close to 100% crit rate as much as you can. Those are the three things that you need to be able to hit a lot harder. Now, special champions like Coldheart, let me show you why. let's go ahead and go to dungeons. If it lets me. There we go. Let's go to dungeons. Now, everybody knows Spider has like one of the most highest HP in the game other than Clan Boss. So we're going to go there to test out Cold Heart. Alright. So, obviously, other debuffs are going to play a role on your damage, like decreased defense. There is a 31 and there's a 61. 60 obviously being the strongest and 30 obviously being the weakest. Tyrell has that ability of decreasing the enemy by 60%. Hopefully it hits. Boom, top left, you can see the enemy has a decreased defense on him. Let's go ahead and go through rotation until we get to Cold Heart. So as you notice, every single time I hit the spider or the spider links, you can see yellow. Now yellow damages means it crit. White damage means it didn't crit. Red damage, actually your damage was weaker. That usually happens with opposite affinities, or you're just... yeah, it's just for opposite affinities. Now, there's this other color as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Comment below if you guys have noticed the purple damage and what that means, because I don't know what that means. I thought it's only for voids, but apparently it's not. So, comment below if you guys know what that purple damage means. And usually when that purple damage comes on, it'll say strong, which I don't know why. So, we're here with Cold Heart. So, as we can see, A3 is going to say damage based on enemy's max HP. So as we already know that it's going to scale off the enemy's HP. So let's go ahead and hit that. Boom, 284, nearly 1/4 of the enemy's HP. So that's why Cold Heart is really good and really shines during the spider runs. You can see a lot of people run with 2 Cold Heart, or 2 Royal Guards also has that. So those are special champions, such as damage based on HP and damage based on enemy's max HP. Now, if you don't have Cold Heart, and Cold Heart is very hard to get because voids are very hard to come by and they're very expensive in the shop. So, if you don't have Cold Heart, there are other alternatives in this game, such as this one. A merger is an uncommon spirit, and you can get a merger anywhere. You can get them in the market, or you can get them through mystery shards. So there is no point of you booking an uncommon or common, because they're very easy to get. So if you take a look at a merger's second in the A2 attack, the damage is based on defense and enemy's max HP. Now, as you can see, or like you might think, oh, why don't I just use a bunch of uncommons? Yes, that is true. You can use a bunch of uncommons, but it's going to be more gear intensive. That's the down part of using a lower rarity, is the base stat that it comes with. It's a lot lower than what the hires are. So if you compare a legendary to an uncommon, just check out the base stat. If you don't know what the base stats are, it's when you go to your artifacts tab, look at where your stats are. The white one is the base stat. The green ones are your what do you call that? Extra external buffs, right? Like arenas and artifacts that you have. So your base stats are a lot lower than the higher rarities. So that's the down part of playing lower rarities champions, because their primary stats are a lot lower, so they're more gear intensive to start off. Because if you could build a merger the exact same way as you can build Cold Heart, meaning a high crit rate and a high crit damage with decent amount of attack and decent amount of HP for survivability, then I'm pretty sure this uncommon is gonna hit exactly the same way as Cold Heart. Now, there's multiple champions of this. It's not just this one. It's just not Cold Heart. There's also this rare right here. This rare looks exactly like Cold Heart, but is not Cold Heart. It's a more dressed Cold Heart, because this one, I guess, she is cold, so she dressed more. So her A3 is exactly same as Cold Heart. Damage based on enemy max HP and attack. Now, if you guys notice, the damage base, sometimes there's 2 things that are accounted for that factor. So meaning, if you go to Valkyrie, click on A1, the damage is based on attack and defense. So what that means is it scales off attack and defense stats. Now, if everybody knows that defense makes you take less damage, in this instance, I would stack up on defense because it makes more sense, right? You take less damage, but yeah, you're still dealing a lot more because now you're scaling off two things and you're going to scale off defense for survivability. So that's what it means when they have two things. So there's attack and defense at the same time. And there's also those special champions such as enemy max HP and attack. So those are what it means. So first thing is first, know where your damage is coming from. Second, stack as much crit damage. And third, get as close to 100% crit rate as much as possible. So if you guys found this helpful, comment below, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.